What if Chris Hansen is wrong about Onision? What if Repsion is wrong about Onision? Before you hit that thumbs down button, ask yourself this. Why does every time Chris Hansen or Repsion speaks, they say the word alleged or allegedly? Isn't that interesting? They don't have the guts to not use that word because they know that what they are putting out there in their videos may be false information and they are protecting themselves in case that information is false. Because here's the reality. These could be jaded ex-lovers who, they wanted to get into a relationship with Onision and he just did not, want to marry them or, I don't know, move to Utah and get a polygamous, polyamorous marriage going on or whatever. I don't know if that's even possible in the United States, but here's the bottom line. Chris Hansen might be wrong. He might be putting liars on his airwaves, And here, the reason I'm bringing this up is because Chris Hansen himself isn't exactly the most integrity-driven guy out there. Yes, he has lied many times. He has, taken out loans and not been able to pay them back. He has gotten money from Kickstarter and Indiegogo, I believe, or I think it might have just been Kickstarter, but he definitely got money from a crowdfunding website and did not fulfill promises for a very long time. From my understanding, he owed at one time, I don't know about his financial situation now, but at one time he owed over $1 million. Yes, he was in debt that much. So this is all public information, by the way. This is stuff that I've gathered from different news sites. And notice I'm not using the words allegedly. This is on news websites that have dug into the details of financial records. And, Chris Hansen, look, I love what he did in the past. I was a fan of his show. And I was like, yeah, get the bad guys. But really, to me, the turning point was when they went after a guy who did not show up to I'll just call it the bait house. I don't know what they called it back then. I can't remember, but the sting house or whatever, where they were doing their sting operation with perverted justice. They went after a guy who didn't show up. Usually they wait for the other people to make their appearance at the house, but they went after this guy with a camera crew, much like they did with Onision, and the guy ended up shooting himself. And yeah, and I think that's when To Catch a Predator stopped. So, I look at it like this. I love what was going on, but in reality, guess what? Here, and this is why Chris Hansen doesn't want to have a seat with me, by the way. This is why he doesn't want to do an interview with me, even though I've reached out to him several times. I leave comments. I'm going to start leaving super chats. And if he keeps ignoring me, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to find out where he lives, just like how he found out where Onision lives. And I'm going to track him down. I believe he lives either in New York or Connecticut. I believe... Yeah, but the problem is I don't know exactly where he lives. Otherwise, I'd be taking a train up there, tomorrow maybe, if I can assemble a camera crew and do what he did to Onision and see if he unlocks his door or if he calls 911 on me, because that's the real reality here. Okay, so Chris Hansen, have a seat with me and answer why you cheated on your wife with a woman that was 21 years younger than you. Answer why you lied to NBC and said that your mistress at the time was lying. And then she lost her job because the powers that be, the bosses, thought that she was lying about you and trying to bring you down. So they fired her instead, from my understanding. Now that is an allegation. I don't know the details about that, but I do know that there's a photo of you kissing a woman who is 21 years younger than you, and of course you had relationships with her, and you said to this woman, you said to her, you would divorce your wife and marry her, and that didn't happen. So you owe a bunch of money, you owed crowdfunding, we'll call it prizes to people, and you cheated on your wife with somebody 21 years younger. This is all stuff that is verified. What else did you do, Chris Hansen? Because here's my issue with Chris Hansen. The biggest problem I have with him. He acts like Mr. Perfect, and his voice is so irritating. I know my voice is irritating, but he has this obnoxious cadence to his voice, like, yes, so, what are you exactly, what was the situation here? What was the situation? Or however he talks. It's just very obnoxious, and just the fact that he makes himself Mr. Perfect, but then he doesn't have the guts to be interviewed by a guy like me who knows dirt on him. That's right, Chris Hansen. I'm going to come after you wherever you are living. I'm going to shove cameras in your face like you shove cameras in other people's faces. It's payback. Where's the $1 million? How much money do you owe to your debtors, huh? Or did you file for bankruptcy so that they couldn't collect? Because that's a scumbag move, but I wouldn't put it past you. And it's possible Chris Hansen got screwed over in divorce court. So that's why I want him to have a seat with me. I want him to explain why all this stuff that happened to him happened. Because maybe there's a good explanation. Just like Onision. Onision might have a good explanation for what's going on. And I tell you, Onision's biggest mistake was fooling around with girls under the age of 18. You really shouldn't do that. Even if you're just, 20 years old, people just look at you funny. So he should have kept it to 18 and older. Just don't even talk to these girls, and everything would have been a-okay. But, the other mistake he made, the second biggest mistake, was he messed with girls who have mental problems. And he says, some of these girls are diagnosed bipolar. They have other issues. He should not have just, you don't stick your stick in crazy. I censored that phrase, but that's the phrase men use. You don't stick your stick in crazy to avoid these issues. And that's it. So Chris Hansen, if you aren't a coward, you will interview with me, and we'll get it done, buddy. We'll get it done. Let's get it done. If you have nothing to hide, let's get it done. But I think you have something to hide, which is why you're afraid to have a seat with AR-7271.